Today I'm going to talk about what happened to the St. Joseph's Battalion. And so a lot of you have been following this channel for a while, and you know that I've been talking about the St. Joseph's Battalion. We even had a lot of campaigns that I have promoted. So what happened? Where's it going to go? So I want to start out from the beginning. Father Mark Goring. And what happened in 2018 was a summer of shame. The McCarrick Report, Pennsylvania Grand Jury Report, what else? Vigano's letters, and the Vatican China deal. And after all those things went down, I thought, you know what? Like, this is crazy. I want to do something. I want to do something about the corruption in our church. And so, what I ended up doing was, following Taylor Marshall for a while. Taylor Marshall, he was talking about the corruption in the church. He talked about Benedict's resignation, why that happened, the Vatican Bank, all this stuff. I thought it was interesting. And so I saw a promotion on a thumbnail on the side for Father Mark Goring's videos. And so I started taking a look, and Father Mark Goring in late 2018 was talking about Vigano, the corruption in the church, corrupt seminaries, compromised bishops, why bishops won't speak up. And he was just boldly proclaiming the truth. And so I said, let's go. Let's do this. And so then what happened was he founded the St. Joseph's Battalion. He was getting more and more, I guess, outraged about the consistent corruption in the church, and it wasn't improving. And thank you, Marianne, was a member of the St. Joseph's Battalion. Yeah, I see that. But it wasn't, the situation in the church wasn't improving. It was just Cardinal Supich, Tobin, the corruption network. And, these people were, Vigano said that these cardinals were promoted because of McCarrick's influence. And we're just, as Catholics, we're just being laughed at. People are laughing in our faces. And that's a big problem. So Father Mark Goring came up with this idea to found the St. Joseph's Battalion. And at first I was on board. What did he say? He said, mail a picture of yourself to him, and then you got to pray 3 times a day, at least. And I think those were the requirements. And it was like, all right, I don't know what Father Mark Goring has planned, but let's go with it. Let's drive this corruption out of our church, because he kept saying to the lay people, well, anyone watching his videos, he kept saying, you need to do something. You really need to do something about this corruption in our church. And so I mailed him my picture, and I said, let's go with this. His first campaign was against the Archdiocese of Washington, D.C. It was a protest against Cardinal Wuerl saying the Mass at the March for Life. And Cardinal Wuerl at that point was disgraced. He had resigned his position in the Archdiocese of Washington because of the cover-ups, all that stuff. But he was still allowed to speak at the USCCB meeting, which was another slap in the face to all of us. And Father Mark Goring said, let's not let Cardinal Wuerl speak at this, the March for Life Mass. So we had a campaign. He said, call, write letters, send emails to the Archdiocese of Washington. I would imagine there were thousands of people on board with this. Like, I would imagine there were thousands of people that sent emails. The inboxes were flooded. They were getting all kinds of calls. And it worked. The Archdiocese of Washington released a statement that said Cardinal Wuerl will not be the celebrant of Mass at the March for Life. And I see an SSPX attendee, Shelley, likes listening to Father Mark Goring. Yeah, that's great. And so that was awesome. But then a few days later, Father Mark Goring got shut down. He released a video that said it was a cease and desist order. He removed all his Vigano videos. He removed all his St. Joseph's Battalion videos. And that was really disappointing to me, because what it showed was that any priest who tries to step up and defend the church, they have a good chance of getting shut down. And we can compare that to Father Altman today and see what's happening with him. But And, you know, he hasn't been shut down, which I've been a little bit surprised about, but they're coming for him. And I said that in a video, and that video got deleted. But with Father Mark Goring's situation, I don't think I don't think he ever wanted to quit the St. Joseph's Battalion. I think that he wanted to continue and he wanted to find a way to work around it, but he just never could because of that obedience thing. You know, being part of a religious order, you have to obey your superiors. Now, his superior did end up resigning from the order and transferring somewhere else or whatever, and he has a new superior now. But I don't know that, you know, since then, he has been posting just his own videos, and he's just been trying to tiptoe around, you know, the censors on this channel or on this website. And but it, you know, right after he deleted his videos, right after his cease and desist video, he posted a video that was an appeal to Pope Francis. He said, "I want to continue to keep speaking out against this corruption network," which, I mean, that he took that down fairly quickly as well. But I think that was sort of kind of a testament to how much he wanted to, you know, lead a group that would protest this corruption in the church. And so that leads us to today. Well, that no, I'm going to step back here. After Father Mark Goring got shut down, there were several St. Joseph's Battalion groups that got set up. And there were a few on Facebook. Someone was running a YouTube channel that eventually got promoted by Church Militant, and that was focused on Father Jeremy Leatherby of the Diocese of Sacramento, which was a very sad situation, and eventually he is now excommunicated by Bishop Soto. And the whole situation of Father Leatherby was, I actually have inside information on this, by the way. The whole situation of Father Leatherby, this is a little bit of a side note, is that Father Leatherby, he was accused of whatever, you know, inappropriate conduct with a woman, and the information that I got was that he was performing an exorcism, and she reported him for saying certain things, but she was so it was just a strange situation. But anyway, he got shut down for like 4 years, and like a lot of people believe that it was unfair by Bishop Soto. You know, there was, like, if there was an investigation, they just kind of dragged their feet on it. They drug their feet, and eventually he got excommunicated because he was saying mass during the shutdown, and he said that Benedict was Pope, and so Bishop Soto excommunicated him. Sad situation. There was a video that came up where he was driving, apparently, you know, under the influence of alcohol, and he was saying some things. I don't know, but anyway, that point is diverging because that St. Joseph's Battalion individual focused on Father Leatherby's situation. Um, there were there's a Facebook group and a Facebook fan page, and they kind of had separate goals. And initially, everyone was fired up, and they're like, "Let's get going. You know, let's continue. Let's like restore, you know, the St. Joseph's Battalion, continue with these campaigns against the corruption network." So the one never did anything. The other one did, and that was the one that I promoted. And but the fan page never did anything. The fan page had more followers than the Facebook group, and the Facebook group maybe had 200 followers, and very few of them actually participated in the campaigns, I would expect. But I was, you know, I was promoting campaigns here. We were emailing different bishops, different places, and the one campaign was pretty unique, in which we emailed former priest secretaries of McCarrick, and we asked them to disclose any information that they had about McCarrick, because the Archdiocese of Washington was doing nothing. And so we did some of those campaigns with varying degrees of success. I think one of the priest secretaries that we emailed did say something about, you know, his experience as a secretary under McCarrick, which was pretty neat. I don't know if we had anything to do with it or not, but I also have received emails. I had received emails from bishops. Some of them just said, "Thank you for your opinion. Thank you for your input." There was an employee from the Archdiocese of Washington who emailed me angrily and said, don't like stop emailing me about this or something. So, we did have an impact. And I did get an email from Archbishop Wensky, and he wasn't so happy. He's the biker bishop. He has a motorcycle, and I think he wore like motorcycle socks when he visited Pope Francis or something. But anyway, he sent me an email back in which he was kind of angry about my email and didn't sound too pleasant. And so, we did get some responses for that, but the problem is whenever you have like maybe 10 people that are sending out emails for email campaigns, it's not going to make an impact. When you have the thousands of people that participated in Father Mark St. Joseph's Battalion, um, that's pretty significant. And those kind of numbers are going to, really make a statement. So it kind of faded away after the shutdown because, you know, the bishops, they basically sold out on us to the government, and there's really nothing you can do at that point. And just the lack of participation was kind of discouraging as well. So, but how do you get a good protest group? Like, how do you get a good campaign started against the corruption network? And this is where we're at today. Um, and I would say, having a priest lead it is always the best option. Father Mark Goring was definitely a solid priest to lead the St. Joseph's Battalion. And I guess you can have lay people run these types of groups. I think there's a group TFP, Tradition, Family, Property. I don't know, but they're sort of like a protest group where they do like they pray the rosary outside different places, maybe like a Planned Parenthood or something. And but like lay people could lead this fight against the corruption network. But I think you have to have a really prominent lay person who's well respected. Someone like John Henry Weston of LifeSite News or Taylor Marshall. And there's going to be people that are going to say, oh, I don't really like Taylor Marshall. I don't really like John Henry Weston. Or I don't really know. Like any of these YouTubers that have a lot more subscribers than I do, because I'm at 1,600 subscribers. So if I said, all right, let's start a campaign, maybe I would get 100 on board, probably closer to 20. But that's really the top of my potential for that. But if you had someone like Tim Gordon, like just any prominent figure, and I don't know because like people like Tim Gordon, Michael Voris, Patrick Coffin, they're very controversial, and even Taylor Marshall, people are kind of like wary because there's this term called grifter, and what that means is that people who make money off of the Catholic faith. So I'm making money off of this YouTube channel by the ad revenue. So far, I think I made about $200 total off of this YouTube channel, in like almost a year that it's been monetized. So there's that. But there's these people that have like Patreons and they say support us, and they're talking about the hierarchy and saying you can't go to the SSPX masses. People call them grifters because they're taking a position to make money, and that isn't maybe not specifically, maybe not, maybe they are actually trying to help out the church by talking about these things, but a lot of people are skeptical of their motives. I guess we'll just say that, and that's where they get the term grifter. So, but I think there's only a few prominent lay people who would be able to gather up a large enough group to start a protest campaign. Now they could promote it. These like Church Militant LifeSite News could promote these protest groups, and that would be fine. But a lay person running it, it would be very difficult to have a lay person running a protest group that would actually be effective. And as we've seen in the Archdiocese of Los Angeles, and I point out this video from time to time, there's a video about how Archbishop Gomez, this random lay guy, just walked up to Archbishop Gomez. He had gathered like 7,000 signatures on this petition for Archbishop Gomez to remove Mahoney, disgraced Cardinal Mahoney, remove him from any kind of public event in the diocese. I believe that's what it was. And Archbishop Gomez had some security guards, and security guards basically kicked the guy out. They said, we don't want, we don't, they said, as soon as the layperson said McCarrick, they said, and they started walking away. And then he's like, here's my 7,000 signature petition. And the guy was like, don't worry about it. Like, stop bothering us and stuff. Like, you have to watch the video. It's pretty alarming. Like, they don't care. That's the problem, is these bishops don't care about petitions. So if you're signing an online petition, you're just making yourself feel good. But I think that with lay led groups, it's difficult, and it's going to have varying degrees of success. With a priest, you immediately have a little more credibility, and the priest has the opportunity to get people to rally behind him. So, take for example Father James Altman. Father Altman has been speaking out. His videos, some of his videos have like 1 million views. People want to hear this stuff. And they have a lot of likes too. It's not like there's all these people that are angry about it watching it. I mean, they probably have a decent number of dislikes and maybe some angry comments. But Father James Altman is he's speaking to the people, telling them what they want to hear, and not because he wants to tell them what they want to hear. It's because he wants to preach the truth, and they want to hear the truth. And so someone like Father James Altman could start one of these groups, and we could make significant progress in the church. And by progress, I mean regress, taking the church back to its roots of tradition. But I can't really think of any situation where a priest would want to do that. Father Mark, after you consider Father Mark Goring's situation, Father Mark is in a religious order, and so he answers to the superior of his religious order and the bishop of his diocese. So if he were to be removed, I think a religious order would be a better scenario in which a priest could start one of these groups. And because if he were to, if the bishop told him, you need to stop this group, he could always just go back to his religious order. Now, for a diocesan priest, Father Altman is a diocesan priest. If his bishop removes him from the diocese and sends him to St. Luke's Institute for Disturbed Priests, he's not going to have any other options. Like, he could transfer to a diocese or a religious order, and they'd probably take, some of them would probably take him, but he wouldn't have faculties. The bishop probably wouldn't grant him faculties to say Mass in that diocese, in really any diocese except maybe Strickland's in Tyler, Texas. So it's a big problem. And I think, how many bishops would be okay with this? Strickland might, because Strickland preaches some of this truth. But there would certainly be significant pressure for Strickland to shut him down. When going to EWTN, looking at Mother Angelica, there was pressure from a number of bishops to shut her down. And actually, it was funny. She made a statement about Cardinal Mahoney. Cardinal Mahoney made an ambiguous statement about the Eucharist, and Mother Angelica called him out for it. And she said, what happened is, or she said, I wouldn't support him, or something to that regard. I wouldn't support the cardinal, or I wouldn't listen to a word he said. And they were really, Cardinal Mahoney was really upset about it. For 6 years, he tried to get Mother Angelica shut down, and then it was Bishop Gracida, who I just talked about recently in a video, who said, I think he called something to the floor of the USCCB and basically dismissed Cardinal Mahoney's whole rant or crusade against Mother Angelica. So I did see in the comments about Father Dave Nix. I don't know his situation. I'm not familiar with his situation, but I know he wanted to be somewhat independent, and he's able to have some independence in Colorado. But I think he's had his clashes with Archbishop Aquila of Denver. So I don't really know his situation. If he would start a protest group like this, I don't know. I think he'd probably be alienated. And see, here's the thing, though. And I do see that some people attend the SSPX. We probably couldn't have an SSPX priest do this because I think the perception, and this is like, I don't want to say that the SSPX are outside the church, but the perception, and I actually don't believe that the SSPX are outside the church. I think that they are inside the church, but I do there is this perception among a lot of people that the SSPX are outside the church, and so you're not going to get these like mainstream Catholics participating in it. That's the problem, because someone like Father Altman kind of unites the Catholics. He unites the SSPX with the Novus Ordos, and they all say, you know what, I agree with Father Altman's message, and I think that's the thing is that like, and even I don't know about a Latin Mass priest. You know, the FSSP and the Institute, I don't know that the priests really, like, first off, I don't think they're allowed to have social media accounts. So it'd be kind of difficult to get their message across. Um, and then you get to the issue of the diocesan priests who, where are they going to go? You know, Father Paul Kalchik, you've heard about his situation from Church Militant. He was a priest in Chicago. There was a rainbow banner behind the altar, and some lay people in his parish took it down and burned it. And he didn't even, I don't think he told them to do that. I just think he didn't stop them. And Cardinal Supich tried to send him to a St. Luke's Institute or a similar institution for disturbed priests. But this is what's going to happen is that they're going to say you're insensitive and we have to send you away. So I think that's the problem with diocesan priests leading this charge. Now, if a bishop led the charge, I mean, you know, Vigano's writing letters all the time. Maybe he could form a group. And people, more and more people are starting to label him as fringe. So maybe not. But Bishop Schneider, and a lot of people respect him. Bishop Strickland, of course. So I think a lot of people would get behind. Well, really, a lot of people would get behind any bishop who would do this kind of protest group. And so I guess my point here is that, you know, lay-led groups protesting the corruption network, it's going to be probably largely ineffective. And that my experience with the St. Joseph's Battalion was people, you know, they'd watch the videos, maybe some of them would participate in the campaigns, but you're not going to get a lot of participation, and you really do need a priest to have a respectable, I guess, credibility. Just by ordination, you know, they're going to be a leader in this fight, and I don't, I don't know. I don't know how the situation will improve. I don't know what will happen, but I think we do need a group to combat the corruption network. And Father Mark Goring was really onto something. This, you know, his message resonated with a lot of people, and that was several years ago. And he was shut down over 2 years ago. And today, you know, I still want to protest. I still want to, you know, kick these corrupt individuals out of the church. And I know you do as well. And I talk about this all the time. Reading the news is really not encouraging. Most of our hierarchy and even the new bishops, you know, the new bishops are younger and they're going to be around for 20 years. And they're full on Francis Church. And they're all about the LMNOPs. They're all about, you know, women deacons. They're not going to do a single thing. If a situation like McCarrick happened again, they'd probably turn a blind eye to it, because McCarrick was there with all his LMNOP friends, you know, and all of his friends supported him. And if you supported McCarrick, you could look for some nice promotions up the ladder. And that hasn't been investigated yet either, which is why I'm still completely outraged, and all of you are as well, and I know you are because I see your comments on my videos. So yeah, I don't have any resolutions on this. If you have any thoughts, you know, I'd certainly like to hear your comments on how we can get a group together, like a protest group that's kind of like a low commitment type of thing, where you can participate in these campaigns, just like Father Mark Goring, St. Joseph's Battalion. And you know what, Father Mark Goring, he's probably not going to ever lead the St. Joseph's Battalion again, because, you know, he was shut down and he wanted to do it, but I don't think that's in the cards for him. So that's all I have on this. I do want to get to some viewer comments here, and I do read the comments. Sometimes sometimes it takes me a while to read and whether notifications come or not. I got a lot of comments on my Bishop Gracita video. A lot of people like Bishop Gracita, which is really cool. There's a comment from first name, last name that says, since the USCCB is backing all the left nonsense, maybe they should try pushing Eastern liturgy. That would get the left excited because they love Eastern things for some strange reason, and we can be happy that there are more traditional masses, even if the homily is still given by garbage priests. So anything the USCCB touches turns to stone and breaks. So I don't know if I'd really want to do that. And the thing with the Eastern Catholics is that they have maintained their liturgical traditions, which is really good, and that's why the Divine Liturgy is something that a lot of Roman Catholics actually really appreciate, is because it hasn't been watered down and destroyed by the ideals of the Second Vatican Council. There are the Eastern Catholic bishops do participate in the USCCB conferences, although I think I may have heard one of them speak in my several conferences that I've covered. I think I've covered at least like 6 or so conferences on this channel, and maybe I've seen one Eastern Catholic bishop speak. So I don't even remember what he said. A lot of the bishops, they talk, but nothing is said. You know what I mean? Like, you can hear them talking, but it's nothing meaningful comes out of their mouths. And with the Eastern Catholic Divine Liturgy, there are definitely certainly modernists in the Byzantine Rite, but I think you just have to find a good one. The Divine Liturgy, it makes it like the reverence is built in. You don't have to intentionally, like I guess like the Novus Ordo, you can have reverent Novus Ordos, but the reverence has to be deliberate. In the Eastern Catholic Divine Liturgy, the reverence is just naturally built into the Divine Liturgy. And so I don't know about this. Um, yeah, so the USCCB as well. Did you watch the Eric Salmon's interview with Archbishop Cordileone from San Francisco? Because that was certainly disappointing, I have to say. Archbishop Cordileone was talking about, like, Eric Salmon's asking point blank, why don't you excommunicate Nancy Pelosi? And Archbishop Cordileone was like, well, I'm kind of in the process of, like, just kind of like dodge the question. And so it leads me to believe that the USCCB, they have a lot of strong pro-life statements, like, Catholic politicians should be denied communion if they support abortion, all this stuff, and they'll say that. Some of them will, most of them won't. But when it comes down to it, if it's in their diocese, then they're like, well, I don't really know, and it's up to the bishop. No, and Archbishop Cordileone, he even acknowledged that any bishop could excommunicate any politician. And so why doesn't someone just do it? That's the point. Why doesn't someone just start this protest group? Why doesn't a bishop excommunicate someone? Like, we're ready for action. We're tired of the talk. And so that's the whole point of this video today, is that we have an angry laity. Someone like Father Altman, his message resonates with a lot of people, millions of people, because his video has over 1 million views. And so we have the people to stand behind a bishop who's going to do something Catholic. We have the people to stand behind a priest who's going to start a protest group to try to drive this corruption out of our church. And right now, the people are leaving the irreverent Novus Ordos and they're going to reverent liturgies, whether that's Latin Mass, in the very rare situation, Reverent Novus Ordo, or the Byzantine Divine Liturgy. And, you know, even the Byzantines, like, I think a lot of them are fired up with the nonsense. I know that the Byzantine Divine Liturgy that I sometimes attend, the priest, he gave a sermon where he said that the sign of a healthy parish, you can tell if a parish is healthy by how many people go to confession. That's a pretty powerful statement. He also talked about mortal sin. And you get these priests that are fired up for the faith. Are one of them going to lead us? I don't know. And that's really the whole point of this video, is that, like, I don't know where we go from here. But I want to start, like, I want a protest group to start. And I want someone to stand up and say, we're going to start it. And it can't be just a random person. It can't be a random YouTuber like myself. It's got to be someone prominent and probably one of the clergy. So who's going to do it? I don't know. But anyway, I'm at 30 minutes. That's about all I have for today. So thank you guys so much for watching. We've got a few good things coming up this week. Hopefully you'll find them interesting. And as always, like the live streams seem to be popular. It seems like a lot of people really enjoy watching the live streams, and I'm glad to see it. I definitely need the numbers to keep doing what I'm doing on YouTube. So thank you so much for watching, everyone, and continue to speak out against this corruption because we are the laity. We will not be silent.